They say to only bring what you can carry. So with the all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor, bring a lot. Like 3 dirt bikes, a few tents, an entire crew ready to make memories. A panoramic 24-inch display, and the confidence to push your limits. The all-new 2025 Ford Expedition Tremor.
Always consult the owner's manual before off-road driving. Know your terrain and trail difficulty and use appropriate safety gear. Max payload varies based on accessories and vehicle configuration. See label on door jamb for carrying capacity of a specific vehicle. Always properly secure cargo.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in 1 convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Hello and welcome to the I Can Do podcast with Benjamin Lee. We're here to talk about tips and strategies to have an I Can Do mindset. Life is what you put into it. Get the most you can. Here's your host, Benjamin Lee.
All right, we are back. Thank you so much for listening to the I Can Do podcast. I got another fantastic guest. You might be the first one, Mark. I'm trying to think, have I had a guest on now multiple times? I think you may be the very first one. So for that, I am grateful for you. Mark Beall is in the house. I think, how long has it been? Like a couple of years since you and Chantel were on the show?
Yeah, I think it's been a couple of years at this point. Yeah. And thank you for having me on again. Like, this is an honor to know that I'm the only one that you've had on twice.
I'm trying to remember, but I think you are. I think you're the first. And no, you're welcome. Thank you for being willing to be a part of the show again. There's a lot of things that have changed. A lot of things that have changed between the two of us with just life and stuff like that. I think we've seen each other the last couple of years with you guys being in the Texas area. We've been here 7 years now. So I think we've hung out at least 3 times. I remember going to Chick-fil-A that one Wednesday night, and then we all went to Bible class, and then y'all have come over a couple of times. So that's been pretty cool, just seeing the boys grow up. Joshua's almost 14 now. And so life is moving by fast, man.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It makes you wonder where life goes, right? When you're a kid, it feels like life just takes forever. Like you always, like you have these targets you want to hit. You want to turn 16 so you can drive a car, like at least for me, right? Yeah. And so, but it seemed like it just kind of drug along, and then now, like you want the time to slow down.
I know.
You just don't want it to keep going by at this speed. So life's interesting.
We'll have to talk a little bit more about that. That may be the perfect transition. Is it possible to slow things down, in particular with AI? So, I asked my guest to send me a short little bio. Mark is courageous in so many different ways. You've accomplished so many different things. Let me just read this here real quickly. Mark is a former IT analyst. That was for 20 years, right? You did that for about 20 years?
Yes. Yep.
About
20 years for the most part. Yep.
Yeah. Walked away from a 20-year career to pursue entrepreneurship full time, which he is absolutely crushing. And he's a consultant, content creator with over 16 million long form views on YouTube. I was just patting myself on the back before we hit the record button. I have 87 subscribers on my YouTube channel and about 25,000 views, which is actually really good for me. So Mark gave me a great analogy of, dude, stop deleting. I've had that tendency before. And tell me again, Mark, tell the audience, what was that great analogy you gave me that actually could help someone listening who may be on the verge of saying, I'm out with respect to YouTube?
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things, like you have these expectations in mind. You know what you want to happen. You have your targets. And then if you don't hit those targets, you kind of feel like, is it worth it or whatever? So there's this analogy that I came up with I thought might be really good, which is like, it's kind of like you're preparing to run a marathon race, and you have these certain times you want to hit in order for you to feel like, you did something really, really good. Maybe you want a PR. And then you get closer and closer and you just feel like, I just don't know if it's going to happen or not. So instead of continuing running down the street, you take a left turn and you head to Baskin Robbins. And then like 6 months later, you're like, maybe we should try that marathon thing again. It's like you did 6 months worth of damage to that trajectory, right? So anyway, maybe that's helpful, but it's just a journey.
Well, I want you to kind of go on a riff here for a few minutes. How did you end up with long form content with YouTube? So maybe those who did not hear our first conversation, take us through this journey of being this IT analyst, making that decision to say, I'm going down a different path, and how you have ended up where you are right now. Spend a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, just kind of walking us through that journey.
Okay. Yeah, it is interesting, right? Because I had, ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to do something with computers, with technology. Like ever since I was like 9 or 10, I knew that was my career path in life. And it's something I was really passionate about, something I still really enjoy to this day. But what happened along my life's journey is, I landed a really good job out of high school, became an IT analyst, right? Like that was a really big thing for me. And about 15 years into my career, I started on the management path, the leadership path. And so for the last 5 years or so of my career, I worked my way up from like a team lead all the way up to an associate director at a major university. And I started to get more of an itch for just like solving technical problems. I wanted to actually make more of a difference, more of an impact with people, other than just fixing a broken computer. And so the leadership path was really interesting to me. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed teaching and helping people develop their own personal skills, their career path, think through all those things. But the one kind of nagging thing that I had about my trajectory was I really didn't care for all the negative things that came with it, like politics and, all of these. In a university environment, there's a lot of political discussions and like maneuvering and things like that. Like I just want to make an impact. I just want to make a difference. And so with the IT space and in general, one of the things that I like to do in our spare time is actually, work on home related projects, right? We like to repair things around the house. It kind of balances that intangible work product with something that you can see and feel and say, I did that, right? And so we do a lot of house projects. And my wife kept saying, Chantel, she kept saying, well, while you're working on these projects around the house, you should film it and put it on YouTube. And I was super resistant to that. And I was like, no, because if I do that, it's going to take me 2 or 3 times longer to just get this job done, right? I've got a lot of things I need to do. Everybody does. And so I ended up, finally, we were renovating our kitchen. I ran into a problem I couldn't figure out. I ended up recording a video on how I fixed that problem, and I posted it to YouTube.
What year was that?
Oh, that was in, probably right around 2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, somewhere in there. That's a lifetime ago, Ben. No. But yeah, somewhere around there. So ended up posting on YouTube, and I kind of forgot about it at that point. And I checked on it a couple months later. I was like, oh yeah, I posted that video. I wonder if it ever did anything. And I pulled it up, and it had like over 10,000 views on it.
Wow.
And it had all these comments from people saying, oh, thank you so much. Like,
what?
I really appreciate this. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's awesome. Like, I feel like I was helpful. Like, I helped people, and it wasn't computer related. It wasn't, leadership related. And it was like a whole bunch of people online that I didn't even know. Right. So that was kind of like my hook point for YouTube. It's like, okay, this could be a thing. I can have a lot of impact. I can help people and just do it kind of in my spare time. So that's kind of how I started on the YouTube trajectory. And there were twists and turns after that, but that's basically the origin story there.
So did you just record it on your iPhone? Like, did you have like a whole setup, or was this just like, hey, let me get my phone and let me just hit record, and then you guys can watch it however you want to watch it? Yeah,
that's a great point. I just pulled up my own iPhone. I recorded it. It was one of those things that I started to overthink it. I started to think, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I probably need to get my better camera. I probably need to get better lighting. I probably, like all those things started going through my head. And I realized that if I started to go down that path, I probably wouldn't do it. So I just needed to pull out my phone, and record it and just talk about what problem I had, how I solved it, and show it, right? And because I felt like if I had this problem, because I couldn't find anywhere online through either YouTube or Google or even the manufacturer how to deal with this one specific issue. And I thought, well, if I have this problem, I'm sure other people do as well, right? So I just wanted to get that content out there and try to help somebody. And yeah, it was literally one take. And I just kind of rambled and I showed what I did. It was like a kitchen cabinet installation. I showed what I did and I just put it out there. I didn't overthink it, you know? And then it had that reaction. And that was also a big piece of it. Like that made me realize, okay, this is possible. And maybe it's a little bit easier to do than I thought as well.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was listening to Tim Ferriss and his podcast yesterday, mowing a lawn, and I can't remember the guest's name, but he has a YouTube channel called Charisma on Command. And so he was kind of talking about this journey that he's had, and he had tested something and he had a sheet of paper and it said Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube with a question mark. And I guess YouTube is like his main, like major platform. So he posted on each of those years ago and then didn't look at it for like 6 months. And when he came back, there was no response on Twitter, no response on LinkedIn, 10,000, 25,000 views, whatever, all these comments on YouTube as well. So it's always fascinating, just kind of like hearing what people are doing, testing it out. You were just curious. I love what you said. You didn't overthink it. That definitely gets in, I think, my way and other people's way sometimes too. Like how much, he mentioned this too, that the one thing that got in his way was having to set up a camera every time. So he's like, okay, I just want a dedicated room where I don't have to spend 15 minutes putting the camera up, focusing all of that. So it's like those little things that kind of block us. I love what you said there. I just made it simple. I didn't overthink it and I just did it. Were you able to hold on to that, having that many views, 16 million views with long form? I know some things have changed because I know your videos have gotten way more detailed. And there's a lot more planning. When did that change? And is it still exciting? Do you still like doing that? Give us some feedback with that.
Yeah. So I think it's just one of those natural progressions of you want to get better at the thing that you're doing. Right. Okay. So there's a lot you can learn with YouTube. There's a lot of different techniques you can apply. There's different editing styles you can do. And so a lot of it is I got caught up in all of that over time. And I think too, not necessarily caught up in it, but you just start to develop your skills more along the way. And I think the problem that a lot of people have, I know I have, is I try to make sure I have all my, ideally I'd like to have all my skills figured out and dialed in first and then execute. But in life, it doesn't happen that way, right? We have to take the steps. We have to take action. We have to put the reps in order to achieve that level that we actually want in our lives. It doesn't happen the opposite. And so with YouTube, I can execute a lot higher quality content now just because over time I've developed that skill. I think between all of my channels, I was counting up the other day, I've got around 750, I think, YouTube videos that I've created in total. And so you create close to 1,000 videos. I mean, you learn some things along the way, right? And you can execute and do some things faster than you could in the beginning, like some more advanced skills and stuff like that. So I think it's just mainly a process. And I always think of when I create a video, I always look at, if I add something to it, I always think about making sure it's enhancing the content and not being a distraction to the content. Because I think that's
what does that mean? You said enhancing the content, but not being a distraction. Expand upon that.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times when you see things like graphics and you see transitions and you see all these things, a lot of times the focus is on making sure that people are paying attention to your content and you're trying to have the brain. I don't want to get too deep on the psychology, but basically you're trying to keep the brain interested, right? And that's all fine and good, but at some point that can be really annoying as well, right? It can be overdone. And so when I add things to the content, I just want to make sure that it's not to the level where you would think, oh, well, that's a cool transition, or, oh, well, this is amazing. How did he do that on the screen? It needs to be simple things that add to the topic at hand. So making it easier to consume the information, making things clearer, There might be some attention things in there just to kind of help hold someone's attention, but not so much that you notice it, right? Because I think there's this big temptation of adding fancy things because we can now. And because we can do that, that tends to actually take away from the message instead of adding to. Is that clearer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Another question that's coming to my mind, is it too late for people who are just now getting started with YouTube? And I think this is going to lead us into the discussion with AI, but have some people just missed the boat? It's 2025. 2015 for you. People have been doing this for a long time. Feedback on that, thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think sorry, let me close this window.
Yeah, go ahead.
Messaging me. So I think I don't think it's too late. I don't think it's too late at all. I think there's a ton of opportunity on YouTube. It's the second largest website in the world.
Wow.
Right. So pretty much everyone is accessing YouTube, and they're going there for different reasons. They're going there some people are going there to be entertained. Some people are going there to learn, and some people are just going there to, to make sure. I'm sorry, there's someone trying to get a hold of me. I'm trying to.
Oh, it's okay. We'll pause for station identification. It's okay.
All right. I thought I had that closed. So
no, it's okay.
Basically, yeah. So there's so much opportunity on YouTube. There's so many ways you can deal with things that and create different types of content that honestly, I feel like everyone's been mainly focused on the entertainment side of YouTube. And I understand why, because there's a huge opportunity there when it comes to like ad revenue and brand deals and things like that. But there's also a big bucket of content that hasn't been created that's related to problems, like problem solving content, solution-based content. You've got that bucket that I think is still largely untapped. And I also think that there's an opportunity for podcasting as well, publishing out on YouTube. And those are generally different types of people that go to YouTube for those different types of content styles as well. So I think between that and between all the different things that we can talk about, that exists on Earth in life as humans, there's so many things that we could create and do and publish on YouTube that I don't feel that it's oversaturated at all.
Is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there's probably things that are oversaturated. Like sometimes people focus on a specific trend.
So give us a few examples of those. What are some things that are oversaturated?
So I think one thing that's oversaturated is probably, YouTube related would probably be editing. Like if someone's like, oh, view my channel, it's all about editing YouTube videos or editing in general. It's like, okay, there's a lot of people that have that type of channel now, right? So it's like, okay, great. Maybe don't make a YouTube channel on video editing, right? Find something else that's related and high value, right? So I think there are pockets of oversaturation, but in general, it's there's a lot of opportunity.
Okay, that's interesting. So there's still potentially hope for me. That's what you're saying?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah.
I asked you a question before we hit the record button. Where is your passion right now? Or what are you passionate about right now? You said you got a lot of irons cooking. And what is one of those that brings you great fear, if I remember correctly? And you said AI. So let's talk a little bit about AI and YouTube. And I think there's a lot to discuss there. I am by no means an expert in AI. So I'm using ChatGPT, which has been really, really fun. It seems like it almost feels like it's a better search engine than Google. I don't know what your thoughts on that. Gemini has been interesting as well. So I'm thinking about how do I repurpose some of my sermons or workbooks and things like that. Riverside is pretty nice too. Like their AI technology is increasing, things like that with Canva. Give us your thoughts with AI, where I know there's typically like extremes of AI is going to outsource or is going to take out so many of these jobs, which I think we're kind of seeing some of that. And we can start there with AI and then we can transition to YouTube. So as an IT analyst, computer expert, YouTuber, where are you landing now with AI?
Member Week is here at Lowe's. Don't miss your chance to get up to 40% off hundreds of items like paint, faucets, vanities, doors, and more. Shop our exclusive deals happening in-store and online now through July 18th. Not a member? Join My Lowe's Pro Rewards for free today and get ready to save more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Are you ready to dairy-free your mind? This summer, melt away your dairy-free expectations with So Delicious dairy-free frozen desserts. Enjoy mind-blowing flavors like salted caramel cluster, chocolate cookies and cream, cookie dough, and more. For over 35 years, So Delicious has been cranking up the flavor with show-stopping products that are 100% dairy-free, certified vegan by Vegan Action, and are so unbelievably creamy, your taste buds will do a double take. Dairy-free your mind. Visit SoDeliciousDairyFree.com.
So where I'm landing right now is I think there's a massive opportunity to adopt AI into business and into life, right? I think it's a revolutionary invention. It feels like it's almost like an overnight thing, like it just kind of popped up overnight. But in reality, there have been people working on this for years at this point, and it's just now to the point to where it's like really, really useful. And so I think that's where the big explosion is coming from. But I feel like the way I think of AI is it's kind of like, I was born in the 80s. So I kind of saw this whole transition in a lot of different ways from a society. But one of the things that I remember getting as a kid was our first microwave, right? We didn't have a microwave at one point. And at one point we did, right? and that was kind of a pivotal moment, because once you got the microwave, you're like, oh, well, this makes preparing food much faster. You can boil water in it. You can do all these things, and it just accelerates time, really, is what a microwave does, as opposed to heating stuff up on a stove. I see AI in the same way, is this microwave, so to speak, that once you start using it and adopting it, you're not going to be able to see life without it, because you're going to be really reliant on it. And the reliance can be good and it can be bad. But I feel like it's kind of a microwave moment for society, that it's going to really revolutionize how we interact, how we communicate, how we execute on things, especially. And so earlier you asked me, like, what are you excited about and what are you, kind of fearful of? And I said, well, it's the same thing. It's AI, because there's a couple different directions we can go with it. But right now I'm really excited about it, because there's a lot of things that you can do with AI that you couldn't before. Or at least make the process of executing on things a lot faster than you could before AI was in the picture. So right now I'm really excited about it. We could talk about the other things after that. But
yeah, I'm curious where the fear comes in. So I can't remember where I heard it, but I just heard something recently that one of the top YouTube channels, or in, I don't know, maybe the top 5 or something like that, is completely AI generated. Did you hear something like that? Are you familiar with that?
I haven't heard that one specifically, but I just came across something else that was AI generated selling duo out of China that they made $7 million in sales in 6 hours, a 6-hour live stream. It was just 2 AI avatars talking. And
are you serious? What were they selling?
So this was a program that they had for years. So it's basically 2 gentlemen talking back and forth about different products that they were pitching. And they have this live stream where people would ask questions about the products, through text, and then they would answer live on air. And so it's just a lot of different consumer-focused products, basically. And so what they did was they took 5 years worth of their live stream video. They fed it to an AI platform that's out of China, which I'm not very familiar with. And it consumed 5 years worth of content, and it analyzed like something like over 10,000 different mannerisms, right? That these people did. It understood their joking style, how they talk to each other. It put all this stuff together, and then they fed it a database of over 10,000 products. And then they just said, go. Wow. And then it live streamed, and it interacted with people like it was them. No one knew it wasn't them.
No one knew it wasn't them?
No one knew, because they had, the AI had such a repository of different emotions and being able to banter with each other and all these things. It just seemed real because it could pull from these. So it really wasn't detectable. Anyway, so they made over 6 hours, they made $7.2 million in sales. And I believe I heard that the Chinese government said that they are going to, or they maybe have, enacted some additional rules around AI generated content.
That's unbelievable.
if you can't distinguish between reality and fake, I mean, that's kind of an issue. So
Yeah.
so that does touch a little bit on that. Like, that's a very good example for what's kind of really exciting, but also really scary at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I think for people like you and I, we're kind of in a dangerous situation here, because if you have 750 videos out there, people could just pull all of your mannerisms, your voice, everything. And the same for me, being a preacher. I got hundreds of sermons, over 300 podcasts. And so is that your number one danger? Talk to us about, what are you most scared of? What are you seeing, 3-5 years down the road that we really need to start paying more attention to, whether it's YouTube connected or just in general with AI?
Yeah, I think in general with AI, there's a couple things. I think one, it's going to be really hard to distinguish between what's real and what's engineered. And we're already seeing that today. And if that is exploited from, right now it's just selling products, right? So that's not a huge deal. Maybe it hurts the trust factor a little bit with that person. But from a broader sense, from a societal perspective, I mean, if you could engineer news stories. I heard Iran engineered, they put together this video that showed that they retaliated against, Israel or United States or whatever. And it was like all AI generated video that they broadcast out to their people in their country. Right.
Wow.
And so we're already experiencing some of this now. So it's just, that's the thing that really scares me. I think the other thing that scares me is there's this kind of this thought that people keep saying or hearing, which is that, well, AI is just a computer, so it can't mislead anyone, right? But it can, because it's a program. So you get that program in the wrong hands of someone, they can tell it to only answer specific ways or avoid this type of answer or whatever. And then, social media has been a huge influence on society. AI can be that probably times 10 or more, if it's not done in the right way or with the right intentions in mind. So that's where my fear comes in around AI, is that it affects so many things right now in our lives that I just don't know what it's going to happen moving forward, I guess is my point.
What are you doing then to protect your intellectual property? What suggestions or recommendations then do you have, for people who have these same kind of fears? Because it sounds like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, we have to embrace AI because it's already everywhere. Mm-hmm. But, how we tread through it becomes important. So I'm curious, what are you doing right now, if anything, to protect yourself with your content, and what recommendations do you have for us?
Yeah. So I think the best way to put this is Elon Musk at one point said that Starlink, his main, his company with all the spaceships and everything, really amazing company of what they've been able to do. He said that they really don't have patents because it's a defensive maneuver. Yeah. It's a defensive maneuver, and they want to innovate and be in front of the curve instead of playing defense all the time. And so I think that's a really interesting perspective when it comes to not only business, but also maybe what needs to happen with AI as well. Like, I think that there's going to be some changes to the copyright law, because I don't think copyright law, the way we have it today, obviously it's not written for AI, right, with that in mind. And I just don't know that the copyright laws, the way they're created to benefit the creator, it really, from a societal standpoint, it's like, is that really the best position? Like, if someone creates something, should that be protected, or is it better that everything goes into the AI and there's no restrictions around that, or at least look differently than it does today? Because I know that's a big debate right now. I believe Disney's suing ChatGPT, or there's one or two big companies that are suing these AI companies because they said, well, you're training your AI on our intellectual property.
Yeah, that's that. What is that called? Is that like scraping? What's that term? Is that what it is? Like scraping like your website?
Scraping data. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then their argument on that, as far as I understand, is, well, we're only scraping things that are publicly available. So it's just like anybody else, you and me, looking
You
at
just go to the website.
something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so like if you have a very skilled artist, like we all know that with art, it's always inspired by something else. It's either in nature or some other piece of artwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you have a very skilled artist and you see like you've got the Iron Man poster behind you, maybe they want to take that Iron Man poster and create another character that looks similar to Iron Man, but it isn't quite Iron Man. They're taking the concept of it. The concept isn't copyrightable, right? The core idea is not copyrightable. I learned that when I wrote my book, that when I went and sent the book off to the copyright office, the whole book, the finished work, is copyrightable. So I sent them a whole book. But the ideas that I have in my book, that are a lot of them are unique, or maybe not unique is not the right term, but they're building on other things that other people have done before me. And so I've just taken their ideas and I've built on them to make them a little bit more clear or enhanced. And those ideas, just like their ideas, aren't copyrightable. So I think the other thing that we may not completely understand, just because we don't deal with it all the time, is what exactly does copyright protect? Right. And how is that applied? So I think there's going to be copyright law changes. I think there's just going to be a lot of things that are going to change in the next 5 years. And there's things that I can kind of see that I believe are going to happen. And then there's probably a lot of things that I don't see, and maybe no one else does either. But I just know it's kind of exciting because of what we can do now. I can do things so much faster with ChatGPT, and I like to use Claude. Claude is my favorite.
I have not used that. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really good about logical information, like outlining. It's really good about, you can create your own programs with it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so this whole idea about like go to college and learn how to become a programmer, it's like
is that going to make that obsolete, like computer programmers?
Yeah, I mean, so I think in general you need to understand how the programming works, but maybe not be so skilled that you understand exactly everything and how it lays out, and because the AI will be able to take care of that for you now. Wow. So like I created a AI plugin for Google Chrome.
You did?
Yeah, with the help of Claude.
What's it called?
It's called the AI YouTube comment generator. And basically what happens is with this, you can, or YouTube comment AI assistant, that was my final name, YouTube comment AI assistant. And what that lets you do is, so on my home improvement channel, I get a lot of comments from people asking questions about electrical questions, plumbing questions, you name it, because I've got a lot of different home improvement topics that are on that channel.
And tell us the name of your channel so everybody knows.
Okay, so the main channel that I've had over 60 million views on is Top Homeowner, and so it's a home improvement channel, right? It's that same niche that I found when I help people with that cabinet creation. So I just kind of stuck with that there. But I get a lot of questions coming to me, and I deal with a lot of different things, and so to get my mind focused on helping answer home improvement related questions, especially a broad range of them, it takes a lot of mental power to kind of switch modes, and combining that with like figuring out exactly how to word things and all that. Like I just needed something that would just help that process along. So I created a plugin that works with ChatGPT. Wow. It takes the comment, it takes the video, and it sends it to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT drafts a response.
Wow, that is amazing, dude. How long did it take you to make that plugin?
3 days.
Wow.
In my spare time.
In your spare time. How much time is that saving you? And just kind of thinking about like the cumulative effect.
Yeah. So what's happened is I was pretty much ignoring my comments because I didn't have the mental capacity to actually go sit down and answer them. So I was, it's not good, but I was just ignoring them. So this has actually let me go back and sit down and be like, okay.
That's awesome, dude. That is so cool.
Yeah. And so like with this, you kind of need to know what you're doing, right? You need to have a general idea, a concept of what you want to create, how it works, what steps are involved. And then what you do from that is you can feed that to Claude, or there are other tools as well. I like Claude. And it'll help you figure out the structure. It'll help you figure out like how it works. And then it'll write the code for you, and then you can go and test it. Not perfect in the beginning. You have to work with it. So you do, like, there is a level of information there and knowledge that you have to have, But at the same time, for me to be able to create a plugin on my own, I kind of know programming. I don't know it that well, and especially don't know it in that specific setting of a Google Chrome plugin, but Claude does.
So okay, so this is fascinating. So one way you're using AI with YouTube is making your life easier now that you created this plugin to help answer comments, which will help eliminate extra time for you, with also providing support for your community and everybody who's listening as well. Second thought is, are you looking to sell this? Was this just some kind of hobby? Are you looking to teach this? Or was that just for you? No, I'm just kind of tired of missing out on all these comments. I'm just going to solve this problem, because I'm seeing this thread pull up for you, right? With the YouTube channel. Well, I can't find this solution. So you solved one problem there. Now you have the plugin. Walk us through that. Are you just trying to keep it for yourself, or what else?
Yeah, it's actually, so you're right. It did solve my problem. That is very true. But it also, it solves a problem for other YouTubers that have that many comments coming towards them that they have to answer. So they either have to do like I did, which was take time out of their schedule in order to answer the questions. And you still have to take time to do it, but just not as much. Or hire someone. Like, that's the other alternative. Like, they could hire someone on their staff to help answer the questions as well. So it solves that problem. The thing is that this extension that I created, like I saw the benefit in having it not just for myself, but for other people as well. Just like the cabinet example for my top homeowner channel. Like, I saw there was a problem with me installing this cabinet. I figured out how to solve it. And then I created a video and I put it out online for other people to help other people as well. So I've essentially done the same thing with this YouTube comment AI comment generator. Is I created it for myself. I got it working really well, and I published it. It's out in the Chrome extension store. You can download it right now, and I made it free. It's 100% free. You can just go download it and use it. Now, I have some other ideas of some things that it could do, right? And maybe I'll charge for that, right? Some more advanced features. But I don't want to just completely gatekeep and say, well, I've got this thing, I only want to charge for it. I want to be able to make it useful for other people and to help other people. Like, that's really one of my core drives, is to solve problems and help people. I'm really motivated by that. So
what else and what other ways are you using AI for YouTube?
So I'm helping it with the whole video creation process, the planning process, I should say. So I'm not having it edit videos for me. I think that can be a thing that will come out at some point for long form videos. But I'm having it help me do the ideation piece, right? Like, okay, what kind of content would my audience like to see? What kind of content already exists on YouTube? And where are the gaps? What gaps can I fill? What are good titles for the video? Because there's all these different elements that go into creating a YouTube video that are what I call friction points. And these friction points prevent you from taking action, or at the very least, they slow you down. Yep. So the way I see AI right now, and the way I feel like is the best use for AI, is to help eliminate or significantly reduce the friction points. So that way it gives you more momentum and you can execute faster. And so everything from, like title ideas to thumbnail concepts, right? So I've got an AI that's trained on the right, eye-catching thumbnail styles. And I can say, here's my video topic. What type of a thumbnail should I create for this video that's appealing?
Is this like another plugin you've created?
Well, no, this is a prompt that I've created. So so I can tell it, I give it a prompt or a GPT. It's a custom prompt. And then I say, this is my video topic. What kind of thumbnail should I create for it? And it'll give me some different ideas. So it really helps what I call not having the blank page syndrome, right? It gives you a jumping off point, something to kind of get your brain flowing and thinking through this process. Is very, very helpful for that. Not just YouTube, but anything else when you're creating, writing a book, outlining a sermon, whatever. It's a really great use of AI to help you at least get something to build off of.
Two questions with that. One, this custom prompt, and you can say no if you want. Is this something that is just for you? Or when you say custom prompt, you just say, hey, create a catchy thumbnail for that? Or is this like, when you say custom prompt, are you saying this is something that is like a special sauce of like the word formula?
Yeah, it is a special sauce because it's
How much is this special sauce, Mark?
right. We can talk about that now. But no, I actually, and not just like the thumbnails I have for all the different pieces of the video creation. So it could be the description, it's like the tags, it's like all the different things. Like I've got a tool for that. And basically the tool is trained on, it's trained on human psychology, human behavior. And so like I've studied a lot in copywriting and understanding these things. So I'll direct it and I'll say, okay, in the prompt, it's like, okay, well, pull out, give me one example that's a contrarian view. Give me one example that's contrast. Give me one, so like there's these different elements within the prompt that because of all the things, the way my life is gone and the journey I've been on, I'm able to understand what that is and be able to actually put that in a prompt and have it produce a higher quality output. And so what I have right now is like, those are mainly for me. I'm looking at trying to get those out in a broader way. Probably not for free. Like there's certain things I will do for free, like the comment tool. But one thing I do with my prompts is I'll give them to my YouTube students. So if I'm coaching someone, these are tools that they'll get so that way they can help execute and create their videos faster. And with YouTube coaching, it's one of those things, like I don't just take on anyone that wants to do YouTube. There's a specific type of person that I look for when it comes to YouTube and that I want to coach. And it's really someone that's not interested in being the next Mr. Beast, right? It's not like leveraging YouTube for fame. The thing that the type of person I really like to help are the people that want to leverage YouTube to help grow their business, right? And they don't know how. And all the advice that they have out there that they're running into is more of the entertainment style YouTube, right? And in order to make entertainment style YouTube work for you and your business, you have to be really good at entertaining. You have to be good at storytelling. You have to be good at all these different elements in order to make that style of video work. Whereas a business owner, typically they're just looking for more exposure and they want to help more people solve their problems and sell their services, right? So it's two very different types of people. You can mesh them, but there's no reason to have to become a creator and learn that side of YouTube and execute on that well. Because honestly, if you do that, technically you kind of built a second business on YouTube. You just became a content creator and an influencer, right? So then you've got your main business and now you've got a creator business. And it's like, okay, well, those two things are kind of at odds. So
yeah, this is really interesting. So to the audience who is listening, I tried to pull that special sauce out of Mark and he said no. Very smooth, Mark, by the way. I love that. So you'll have to sign up for his YouTube coaching classes and we can make sure that everybody knows about that as well. Let me play, you said this idea of being, some contrary ideas. I was at a preacher training workshop in Brooklyn in March. So these are men who like work bivocationally. So they're not preaching, quote unquote, like full time. One of the things that I said, and I was very adamant, I said, don't use AI as you go through writing a sermon process. This was back in March. And here's why I said it. You have to be willing to go through that creative process of struggling with, how do I shape this? How do I mold this? How do I create this, not synergy, but like organization of my thoughts and my points? And you have to, it's like writing a book sometimes where, and you've written a book, so maybe you understand this idea of, have you ever written something and you're like, that's not it? And then you just kind of write it over again. And then like, you kind of almost like get a feeling, you're like, that's it right there. Like, yes, there's that essence. So I'm going to push back and let me play devil's advocate and you help me out and help the audience out. I'm saying there are times where no, don't try it at all. Full disclosure. I did it recently once. I was trying to figure something out. I put it in Chat GPT and I was like, oh wow, this is nuts. But even with that, there's danger with that, especially I think with the Bible, because just because it spits something out, it's pulling from a lot of different places and sources. So
Mhm.
Chat GPT always sounds great. So give me, how do you answer the person who may be like me right now saying, well, no, if you go down this path of just putting everything in Chat GPT, you're actually stripping away your creative power, that you're going to become dependent upon Chat GPT. And I listen to Cal Newport in his podcast, Deep Dive, I think, or Deep Work with Cal Newport. And there was some new study that came out, like they looked at this over like 3 or 4 months, and people who just constantly went to it, they have a harder time now, like completing some certain tasks. So give me some feedback with that. I'm pushing back a little bit, playing devil's advocate. How do you answer to that?
Yeah. So the way I look at AI is it just depends on how you're approaching it, right?
Okay.
If you're approaching it just to make it a shortcut or a cheat code or a hack, then you're going to leverage it. You're not going to think through, and then your mental capacity is going to suffer from it because you're not using your brain, right? But what I do, the way I approach AI is I look at it more as refinement, more as sharpening my mental abilities, stripping away the things that don't make sense and really focusing on the things that do make sense. And it's not that, ChatGPT or Claude, you can argue with it, right? You don't just take what it says for granted, especially if you know it's like, well, that's not exactly right. You can challenge it and it'll say, oh, I see what you're saying, or, oh, I didn't see it from this perspective, or, oh, whatever. And that's very, very helpful. So not only are you shortcutting your time to create something, right, say an outline for a sermon, but if you see it come back with an outline for a sermon, you're like, yeah, that's not really what I wanted. Then you start thinking about, okay, well, how do I tell it what I want? What do I want? Right? So if you take that approach, you start to sharpen your own mental abilities because you're able to articulate things better. You're able to clarify your thoughts more, make it more, clarify your language. Because if AI doesn't understand what you're saying, does anybody else? Right. And so I do a lot of back and forth with AI. Part of it's because sometimes it just doesn't understand what I want because I don't have enough context. Part of it's because it's got some biases. There are biases within AI that you have to be aware of. And part of it's because I'm not able to articulate it well enough. And it takes me a little bit to think through that piece in order to get the output that I want. And so I see ChatGPT and Claude and those tools as being more of it's almost like a counterpart, a colleague, if you will.
Assistant, almost, yeah.
An assistant, but one that's like, it's almost like you have a genius sitting next to you that you can ask questions to whenever you want. And it can really help you understand things. Like I've been in a lot of different coaching programs. I know you have too. And sometimes there's really basic things that you just don't get, you just don't grasp, that are critical, but for whatever reason, we've got a mental block or we've got something there that's preventing us from making that idea understood and having it click for us. And sometimes just putting it into Claude or ChatGPT and saying, this is what I learned, this is where I'm at, I'm not quite understanding this thing, like help me, give me some more context or help me think about this differently. It's almost like your own personal coach in that sense. It can help you really make sure that your thinking process is dialed in. And even to the extent of I've said things to it before and I didn't understand a certain concept, and the way it explained it to me, not even asking for clarification, I was just trying to get it to do something else. The way it explained it to me, it's like, oh, it's, this, you're trying to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, I was making it way more complicated in my head than what it really is. Right? Because maybe the coach named it something special, like their unique method or whatever. And you just, sometimes that causes a disconnect and it's harder to think about. So that's probably a long-winded answer for your question.
It's okay. It's great.
But I really think of it's kind of it goes back to the whole good and bad thing, right? It depends on how you use it. If you just use ChatGPT and Claude to think for you, I think that's bad. I don't think you should do that. I think you should avoid it because you're not going to better yourself. You're just going to degrade. But if you think of it as something that's helpful for you, that you can leverage that you can communicate with and really even just have a conversation with to help you, then I think it can be a really fascinating tool. And I agree, don't have it write sermons for you. I don't think that's the right way to go. And if you did have it write sermons for you, I would say read it, check it, make sure it's right. Don't just say, "Oh, I got a sermon in 10 minutes, go." So there's some balance there that we have to keep in mind. And I also think that at the very least, it kind of goes back to any creative work that you make. Just having it help you outline, or at least do an initial outline of something, can be hugely helpful, because then it can really help accelerate that process of creating what it is that you're really trying to create, and get through some of those blocks and through some of those hurdles that you're facing. And it just accelerates time. Like a microwave, AI accelerates time.
Yeah, I like that. Accelerates time. Yeah, it's mind-boggling just how fast it can just give you feedback and search everything. It just speeds everything up. Let me ask you a couple of rapid-fire questions. If you were to start all over again, so go backwards 6, 7, 8 years, you have no views on your YouTube channel. With everything you know now, would you do anything differently? Or what would be the top 2 or 3 things you would do to get yourself on the same trajectory, even faster?
Yeah, I think I would keep my. It's a really tough question, because there are so many things that I learned in this past 5, 7, 10 years that so going back in time. Okay, I'm thinking about this. What I would do is I probably would not start a home improvement channel.
Why?
Because that is a hobby that turned into my main job. Right. And so I enjoy it to a certain extent, but at the same time, there's always this pull that I have with home improvement, which is, yes, I can help people, but am I really helping people the way I am supposed to be helping people? I don't know if that makes sense or not.
So maybe touching a little bit more on your purpose, or
yes,
you were passionate about, but your hobby became a job, which may conflict with, well, no, this was just fun. But no, now it's like, no, I have to do. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. And it's like, is that really my life's purpose, is to create home improvement videos? And it's not. I know it's not. Yeah. And so I learned a ton in the process, and I still have it. And it's an asset for me, which is amazing. But if I had to start it over again, I wouldn't go that route. I would lean more into my existing skills. I fell into the trap as well of like, well, everybody's doing IT stuff, online. So who am I? Like, it's oversaturated. But knowing now what I know, I would lean more into my core skills, and then develop other skills that I was weak in through that strength, versus maybe something that I was just interested in that wasn't super strong with, and then creating the other skills, the skill development along the way, if that makes sense.
It does. That's excellent. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like and I find myself doing this, which is bad. At least I recognize it. But I find myself trying to take the hardest path a lot of times in life. And I don't know. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. But I think we tend to make things harder than they are. And trying to figure out what's the easiest path going forward versus what you see other people doing, or what you see as the new maybe big opportunity that might not align with you, but you're like, well, but this is trending, so I need to get in the fidget spinner business, that kind of thing, right? And then we end up switching paths too much, and we don't really make progress. We start to make progress, and then we go backwards, and then we start to make progress, and then we go backwards. And so in a general sense, I would not do home improvement. I would lean more into my skills. If it was today, I would 100% go in with AI. On the AI side, and I am leaning more into the AI piece, because yes, I have the YouTube background, which is amazing, and I'm super, super thankful for it. But at the same time, I've got 20 plus years of IT background, and so I feel like the AI stuff is also a really big opportunity that lends itself more to my skill set as well. So I'm trying to navigate that right now. And right now I see it as a convergence of, I can use YouTube and AI together. right? And so maybe that's the thing. It could be something beyond that. I don't quite know. But if I really wanted to start over and to start making money and all those things quickly, I'd have a different trajectory. It's just, it kind of depends on what my goals are. But yeah, I think in general, I would try to still lean into my core skills and not look for ways to just chase something that's working, I guess.
No, that's really good. So you got me. I appreciate your vulnerability with that. That can be a hard thing to answer sometimes as well. I thought I had my cell phone around. I don't have it, which may be a good thing. But I was curious too. I'm being serious. Like, I wonder, like, what would ChatGPT say if we put in, why do I make things harder than what they need to be? So I've done that before. Like, I just bought recently the domain icandopodcast.com because I'm using now Podpage as like this server or platform for my podcast. And I've had benjaminlee.blog for a long time, but I'm not really doing blogging anymore. So I just wanted a site dedicated to the podcast. It looks phenomenal. I pay them monthly. It looks amazing. I could never do that. And so I was like, well, should I have I Can Do Podcast with Ben or with Benjamin Lee or just I Can Do Podcast? Put it in ChatGPT. They said, no, you need to do I Can Do Podcast because you're connecting yourself to your name is not going to serve you well. This is shorter. This is more concise. And it tells like this story, more than if you attached it. Now, I did say buy those domains. And so if anybody does type that in, so that's what I did. I bought those other domains as well. So it's just really cool, with what it can do for you. Will you give me some feedback? I have an idea and you can be brutally honest. Let me take that back. We should always be honest. So however honest you want to be, brutally or kindly, whatever, you can just say, dude, no. You can just say, dude, no. Or you can say, yeah, that's okay. So with YouTube, here's an idea that I had. Because you talked about leaning on, going towards your strengths. Oh, that was the other thing. There is a book called The 10% Entrepreneur. And when I was listening to you talk, one of the exercises that he has in the book is to write out a bibliography of like your life, I think, of just like all these things you've done, which is way more extensive than a resume. So it actually shows you like these threads and things like that. And so I started doing that. And it's pretty interesting too, because you talked about, well, I should have leaned into my strengths more. So you actually get to see them. So it's like a 3, 4, or 5 page document. Then you can kind of play around with it some more. So here's my idea. I think there's a software called Happy Scribe or something like that you can like make videos. I think, is that right?
Well, Happy Scribe is a transcription service. I have that. Yes.
So, okay. Then I'm thinking of something else.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of it.
Is it a video creation?
Yeah, it's like a video creation type thing. So like you could do like a voiceover and you make the video content and then you like use your voice. So that was my idea. So I believe I have a good voice and okay, maybe I don't need to be in the camera. That seems to be one of those sticking points for me, setting up the camera, recording. But I was thinking, well, I love books. I know how to speak. Maybe if I use one of these softwares where they just automatically add that video content, then I could just do the voiceover and then use that as YouTube type content. As a coach, give me some feedback with that.
What's your goal?
Well, my first goal is to just have fun with respect of the voiceover. So I'll tell you where this came from. I was on Instagram and there's this voiceover actor and she has these courses and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I wouldn't mind trying like voiceover because I speak all the time. And then I thought, well, what might be the easiest way that I could start doing this? Then I thought, well, I could just make YouTube videos like that. And another thought that I had, because there's a friend of mine, he's doing this now, and he did like something on one of Cal Newport's books. I was like, well, wait a second, I have 1,300 books plus in my library, so I could make these videos sharing this knowledge that I have of these books. So those were my initial thoughts and reasoning behind going down that path.
Okay, so that's great. So would it be in order to help you further your I Can Do podcast, your current brand? Or are you thinking like more of something on the side to make some money, like maybe some ad revenue, that kind of thing?
No, at the moment, I'm not thinking about any money. It's just finding something more consistent that I'm already connected with that can continue to utilize my skill set. So it could help my I Can Do podcast brand for sure, but it would also be a whole different kind of content for me on YouTube. Right now, most of my views are just through shorts, and I have all my podcasts on there. So that's a longer content form, but I don't really have long form video content at the moment.
Right. So you're thinking about like this would be in addition to what you already have on your current channel, not a separate channel.
Correct.
Okay.
Unless you think it would be wiser to start a separate channel, but right now it would just be one channel.
Right. Okay. This is good. So the way I view YouTube is that you have to think about YouTube from the viewer's perspective. Okay. So let me give you a good example of a realization I had with home improvement, because I think this could help you. With home improvement, my channel, I create a mixture of content. I create content around solving problems and how to do things for your house, like cleaning the gutters and installing, electrical switches or whatever, right? That's like how to complete tasks. I also have content on my channel where I do product reviews because they're products for the home, right? So in my mind, it's the same person, right? A homeowner that wants to make their home better, okay? Either by doing things to their home or having new awesome products that they can leverage in their house. On the surface, it seems like the same person, but in reality, it's a different type of person. One person wants help understanding how to do something. The other person wants help understanding what to buy. Okay. So while they might be home related, and it might be someone who likes to do stuff for their house, the DIYer compared to someone that's just buying things to make their home better and making decisions around that, those are two different core value propositions for the channel. Okay. So now if we apply this to your situation in your channel, you've got people that like to consume and watch podcasts, right? And then is that the same type of person that would want to hear you read the books and the content that you're talking about? Now, also knowing that you wouldn't be on camera.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on Carvana. Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
You set the table, put on a playlist, even made the lasagna from scratch. And now you're wearing it. OxyClean Max Force Spray tackles tough, set-in stains the first time. Adulting is hard. Fighting stains shouldn't be. OxyClean Max Force. It's not clean unless it's OxyClean.
I think it's different. Personally.
Is that different in a good way or a bad way?
I think it's different in a bad way. I think part of it is it's a different type of audience, right?
Right.
Podcast consumers compared to other content styles, even long form, to me are different enough that you really have to think through, should I put long form content and podcasts on the same channel? The reason for that is because of the algorithms, but the algorithms are trying to like understand the person, right? It wants to find a group of people that you're trying to attract, right? So the more you can kind of keep your ideal person in mind, the better for them and for your channel and the algorithms and all those things.
Gotcha. Okay.
When it
That's
comes
really
to,
good.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's helpful. Do you have any questions about that before I go into like part two?
No, what I'm learning is, okay, you have an idea, that's great, but it can't just be about you. You also have to think about the audience, and it actually could be a little bit more distinct than what you're actually thinking about. So, what else do you have? That's it. That's excellent.
Okay, great. So the other piece of that too is one, you're on camera. Two, you're not. Okay. People want to build a relationship with you.
Okay.
Okay. So on the podcast, you're closer to that. Yes, they're watching. I could get really deep on all this stuff, but they're watching a conversation take place right now. Okay. So on a podcast, they're watching you and me at this very moment having a discussion. So if you think about it in a real world setting, it's kind of like we're at dinner together and you've got you and me and we're sitting across the table and we're talking to each other. And then we've got someone else that's at the table and they're just listening to us, which can be totally fine, right? But a lot of times with YouTube, when it comes to like long form content, people that consume long form content, they want to feel like you're talking to them.
Gotcha.
They want to be engaged. They want to build a relationship with you, whether they realize it or not. They want that connection point, right? So if you take yourself out of the equation, you're kind of removing that element from it. And that's what I was asking. Are you trying to create content because you want to make some ad revenue or some views and all that? Or are you trying to expand your current business? Because if you just want to create a channel and you're hoping your content goes viral and you can get, a lot of views and money from that, then yeah, you can do a faceless channel, make it a separate channel, create the content, and then see how it goes. If it grows, fantastic, but keep that separate from I Can Do.
Okay.
However, if you're trying to really attract the type of person you're trying to reach with I Can Do, right? I would say your long form content needs to be you talking to them.
Gotcha.
Not more removed from the picture.
That's really good. That's why you're the coach. That was awesome, dude. I'm serious. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
There's just, I always think about it because I'll say this. I think one of my challenges has been, well, why can't I just make a video with however I want to make the video? Like,
because it's not for
I just
you.
want to have fun. Let me just make the video. So you're saying, well, yeah, you can do that. Keep it separate though. And if it sticks or whatever sticks, I'm not interested in going viral. Yeah. So that's really good. So you really have to think about what's my definition, where am I headed, where am I going these days, because there's so much more competition. Couple more questions, and then I know we got to wrap here. I want to be respectful. Do you have 2 extra minutes?
Yeah, that's fine. We're fine.
What's your philosophy with AI and children? So you have children. What's your philosophy? Let me ask you this: your philosophy with AI and YouTube with the younger generation.
Okay. The YouTube questions come up before, so I was wondering if you're going to throw that through. I was like, so my general philosophy is, let's start with YouTube. My general philosophy with that is, like, we've tried to put controls around the kids and what they watch on YouTube. We'll sanity check with them what they're consuming. They know what channels we've approved and things like that. But the reality is unfortunately with YouTube, there's so much content on YouTube. It's really hard to like completely police it. Like, you can't just lock it down, so to speak. Like, we'd love to just be able to say you can only watch. They're older than this now, but you can only watch Cocomelon. But we can't do that. And so I think there's a lot of trust that's involved with making sure that you're touching base with them. They're giving you feedback. They feel like they can give you feedback and things that they run into. And honestly, another big wild card to everything is the ads that run on YouTube.
It's crazy.
There are ads that I see pop up and I was like, I can't believe they allowed this to be an ad, let alone on more of a family oriented video. So that's part of it. So the YouTube thing, I think it's more of a give and take. It's more of a relationship, a trust building thing, making sure they understand what they should consume, what they shouldn't, having that open dialogue, because in reality, that's the way life works as well. Like, you can't control everything that they're going to run into in life. So it's better to have them be in an environment where at least it's more controlled and we can talk about things versus being completely isolated. And then they get out into the real world and they get bombarded with everything they've been, protected from, and then not know how to navigate it. So that's my general approach with YouTube when it comes to family and kids and everything. When it comes to AI, I don't really want them using it very much. Like I want them to develop their own cognitive abilities, their own skills, their own processes. They do use ChatGPT on occasion for things, but we try and limit that, just because I feel like when they're younger, they need to be able to think through and reason through things. I'm just afraid of that whole dependency issue. That could be super easy. It's like, oh, well, I need to do this assignment or whatever. Just have ChatGPT do it. And I'm not learning anything from that. Like that's absolutely the wrong way to use AI. It needs to be the opposite. So so that's where we are with AI, is just trying to limit their access to it and make sure they're only using it when they need to flesh out ideas or maybe get kind of a jump start because they don't know where to start with something. Or actually, Kalen, my oldest son, he's a YouTuber. He streams video games that he plays. And one of the hardest things to do when it comes to creating content on YouTube is, what thumbnail do I make, right, for this video? And so he takes it one step beyond what I've been doing, which is I just tell it to give me concepts so I can create a thumbnail from that concept. For him, since it's video games, he's just like, make me a thumbnail for this game on this topic, and it'll spit out an actual image and you can just put it on the video. So
that's awesome. YouTube is your moneymaker. YouTube seems to be, is that right? Like from like a social media standpoint with platforms.
Yeah, from social media, 100%. Yes.
Yeah. So what's your philosophy with other platforms? So I know you're on Instagram. I think you may still be on Facebook. Are you just doubling down on YouTube? Do you just have these other platforms as bookmarks? What's your philosophy and strategy?
Yeah. So the other platforms I view them more as like feeder platforms, to where you're trying to capture other people in these other areas that they tend to hang out, and then really draw them back into a central point, which for me is YouTube. It's 100% YouTube. And the reason for that is with all these other social media platforms, it's kind of like you have a 24 to 48 hour time period of when you produce a piece of content, that those algorithms are going to try and distribute this content to get it in front of people. And then after that, I mean, it's still there, but they're not really pushing it, right? They're not really doing anything with it. And so the reason behind that is these platforms want you to create more content. Like they want to encourage you to create more. So like a piece of content a day is ideal, or even more than that in some cases. I heard someone that's made a business out of publishing 100 pieces of content a day. And he was talking to Mr. Beast about this. And he was like, how do you even manage all that? He's like, well, we have a team. And he said, well, like, doesn't that hurt you with Facebook? He said, no. Facebook said they love that. They want that. And if you do that, you'll be rewarded for it. And it's like, well, you can't keep up with that. I mean, that's insanity, right? If it's just you definitely can't do it, right? So that's social media as people tend to think about it. With YouTube, it can be social media. There's that viral aspect to it. The algorithms, distribute your content. You can have a short that blows up, all that stuff. So you've got that same element. But the different thing about YouTube is, because Google owns YouTube, YouTube is a search engine. And YouTube is positioned to get the information in front of the right people at the right time. And so if you have someone looking for information, doesn't matter when it is, doesn't matter if the video is 10 years old, they're looking for that information, YouTube can still put your content in front of that person. So instead of with traditional social media, it's like post and die, post and die, post, go viral and die. Got to do it again. It's with YouTube, you can post and it goes viral. It can do that, but it's like I could post a video and it might take off in a year. I've had that happen before. I made a video, I thought it was pretty good, and then for whatever reason, the algorithms didn't pick it up, or people weren't looking for it at that time. And then something happened, and then magically my video views hockey sticks, 6 months later, a year later, a couple months later. And it's because of that search nature. Like once the algorithm understands, oh, this is for this type of person, or, oh, this type of person is looking for it, or these people are punching in this what they're looking for now, it will serve that up, because YouTube wants to give people what they want, right? And so having those things out there, they're assets, so they can live on. And it's not time bound like social media is. Social media, they're always looking for the next the next thing, how to capture people's attention. And YouTube doesn't completely work like that.
That language, time bound, I think is fascinating. What I'm observing for myself, of all the platforms, YouTube seems, for me at least, like the least addictive, or like potentially like addictive. So it's like I'm not scrolling, I'm not searching too much unless it's building a cabinet that we have here from IKEA. Like, how do I put this lid on? I can't figure this out. And YouTube helped me out with a video with Nikki and I from years ago. Somebody who said, here's how you put this lid on for this glass cabinet. So yeah, I've observed that as well. And I think that's interesting too. It's, books will always outlast social media, and they'll go further, even though things will go viral. Seth Godin talked about that, where things will go viral, but like what you just said, it's like time bound. It's only like for that 24 to 48 hours really resonated with me as well. It's just, and I see that it's like, yeah, it's just like, okay, give me more. So YouTube is not necessarily, with the algorithm, you correct me if I'm wrong, forcing us to give more and more content. I know like Mr. Beast, I think he publishes like once a week, something like that. Is that right? So YouTube is not saying, well, we'll punish you if you don't keep giving us content. Is that a correct assessment?
100% correct. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because here lately, I haven't been creating a lot of content for my home improvement channel, but I went from 15 million views to 16.5 million views.
Wow.
It's a very reduced schedule. And it's because it's just not the same. Like, they're really looking to have quality content that people want to consume, that people are looking for. And of course, like I said, there is the whole social media virality aspect too, especially when it comes to the YouTube Shorts. You've got that, but at the same time, the other platforms don't really have the other capabilities of like search and being found. Like, they're not designed for that. YouTube is. Yeah. I think of it too, like, I don't know, like with blogging, right? You understand blogging, right? So it's kind of like blogging with video. Right. So blogs were huge with Google. It's like, oh, I got to make a blog. I want to index. I want it on the first page of Google search results because I'll get a lot of traffic, all those things. It's very, very similar with YouTube videos. Very similar.
Gotcha. Yep.
And
that makes total sense.
And I've even had a video, one of my videos on my little home improvement channel, be at the top of search results on Google's first page right next to an HGTV article.
That is awesome.
I was like, oh, I got to take a screenshot of that.
Yeah, so, that's so fascinating.
Yeah, so you're building assets. When you're creating a YouTube video, you're building an asset. And then you don't have to hyper focus on, well, why didn't it perform well, or why didn't it blow up? Like, I thought it was good. It's like, it probably is good. It probably is. And the right person just hasn't found it yet. Or maybe it'll blow up in a year. Or maybe that one video is just designed to help one or two people. And then that's fantastic because they were able to consume it. It's changing your mindset around that.
Yeah, that gives me more clarity, and that helps me with not to delete. So just that perspective, and I'm sure you've said this to me before, but I'm observing it now personally. It's just like, oh yeah, this is interesting. So 87 subscribers for me, that's an all-time record. So that's like, oh yeah, this is amazing. So 25,000, like when I deleted, when I was talking to you, I think I had 40 something or maybe 69 people. And so it's like, oh, okay. So this is interesting. Just seeing what's resonating. So I thought about this more. I do have long form content from the podcast episode. So all the interview videos that I have, those are on there as well. So, where can people find your book? Tell us about your book, and where can people find your coaching, and if they're the right person that you want to coach?
Yeah. So my book is available on Amazon right now. It's called Online Business Decoded. And I wrote it because there's a lot of sticking points when it comes to building an online business, and a lot of friction areas where people can get stuck and then either not be able to move forward very quickly, or they tend to abandon ship because they don't know what to do. And so I go through a lot of different elements of it. It's meant to build on itself. So you start in chapter 1, and by the time you're at the end, you're actually in execution mode. It's like you're kind of understanding the foundation in the beginning of what you should be doing, and then it leads you through actually executing on your business. But also wrote it to where it's more, it could be a reference as well. Like there's a lot of principles that I included in it. There's a lot of human psychology that's baked into it. And I didn't want to write a tactical book. I didn't want to write a book that, was going to be outdated in 6 months or a year. I wanted something that people can use to leverage and apply to their business, going forward, no matter what the trends are. So that's it. Actually, I've got it right here by chance.
Yeah, hold it up. Hold it up. Look at that. That's awesome. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's nice to have something tangible, right? For the IT stuff. Like I said, intangible work. Nice to see this in a printed form.
Where can we buy it? Can you get that on Amazon or your website or what?
Yeah, it's exclusively on Amazon right now.
Okay.
You can get it in paperback format or on Kindle through Amazon. And right now, I don't know if this is going to be going on forever, but right now, if you've got Kindle Unlimited, you can actually get it for free. So if you're interested, it's a little bit of an incentive there to go pick it up while you can.
Yeah. Awesome. What else we got going? Tell us about the coaching program too.
Yeah. And so for the coaching program, if you go to thinkandconvert.com, that website has a YouTube launch kit that's available on it. You can download that. That's also absolutely free. It takes you through some more of the foundational knowledge that you need to create a YouTube channel that's built around helping people and helping identify their problems and creating content that lives on forever versus chasing viral trends. So if you look for the YouTube launch kit there, that can help you get started there. And it's got different resources, different, not only just information, but different videos that you can watch that kind of helps fill in some of the blanks and kind of digs in deeper as to what that process looks like.
That's awesome. Mark, you have done so many wonderful things, and our relationship is more than just being on the podcast or talking about AI and YouTube, but brothers in Christ. Love you and your family very much. I've asked people before to give me a word of wisdom. It could be from any subject. It can be on anything. So I'll ask you to do that before we stop. But share with us a word of wisdom, anything that may be on your mind.
So I think something that I'm thinking about, just because it relates to both YouTube and AI, is we tend to encounter a lot of trends. We tend to encounter a lot of shiny objects, things that take our distraction, pull them away. And a lot of those things are short-lived, right? A lot of those things will change again. And I've learned that in life, if you just look at life as being, everything is temporary, no matter what situation you're in, I think that can help you maximize your current situation versus always chasing that next thing and never really being content with where you are. So life is always temporary. Your situation is always temporary, whether good or bad. And I think just making sure you're maximizing living in the moment and, not being complacent, like you're still trying to move in a direction, but being content with where you are.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Benjamin. This has been fantastic. Thanks for having me on again.
All right. We'll talk to you. Take care.
You too.